Everybody, Melissa Klein here. I have no idea how that got into my title. This is a photograph that I was going to use or considering to use for Willem Dafoe's portrait, but because it mimicked very closely the light and shadow patterns of the egg drawing that I did earlier. However, I decided to go with this one instead because this showed more clearly how the light was hitting and how the planes of his face are working. And in fact, this video is pretty much just a really an introduction to how I'm looking at and thinking about the hotness of the planes of Willem Dafoe's face and the planes of the face in general. Now, part of the reason why he's such a wonderful subject, aside from being hot, in case you haven't noticed, is that he has very clearly defined planes, and you wouldn't see this so clearly maybe on somebody with a more of a round face, or particularly a child. You're going to have a lot softer transitions. He has these wonderful high cheekbones, and so here what I'm doing is just like going over and just showing how I'm looking at the forms, like how the roundness of the forehead, and also that sort of space underneath the eyes, those cheekbones, which are beautifully high. He has a little bit of a monkey mouth, although he's still hot, and then a very strong chin, actually. So he's kind of got an interesting combination of what I call delicate features with this very fine nose and the strength of the jaw and the high cheekbones and almost feminine eyes, or what we would stereotype. So here his nose has a little bit of a different angle, but it's still falling in that same overall, like looking at the mass, the front plane. And I think if you can kind of catch this transition, then that's going to really kind of give your drawings more dimension and stuff. And you know what I mean by stuff, because he's hot. But and here I'm using on the our left side this sort of orange color to show this is actually the reflected light that's happening. I have a feeling there's probably a window on either side behind him, on either side of him. So there's probably light coming from both sides, but I think of on our right side, and you'll see I'm going to go into sort of like an ochre color. On that side, the light is slightly stronger, and that to me is where the light's really hitting more full force than on the other side where I have the orange. But I can break this down into sort of basically three zones. And I'm going to also go in there and define it a little bit more with that ochre, where you're just seeing the edge of what is coming in from the strongest light source, which is on our right. So that's, building on what we were looking at in some of the earlier videos. Although some of you might have just skipped ahead and been like, oh my God, Willem Dafoe, I'm going to watch this one. I understand. But you really should go back and watch the other videos if you haven't before. Like the egg video, not as hot, but very important for catching the hotness. So this kind of breaks it down to, the front of the face with those front planes with that blue color, and on either side the yellows and the orange. And I did a little bit on the top of the head to kind of define it a little bit. And just in case, have you noticed he's really hot? Okay, have a fabulous day. Take care.